go. Hi, everyone. It's Julia Keller, juliakeller.co.uk. So I'm here today with Roz Thornton, and we're very lucky to have Roz. And I'm going to let Roz tell you about her. But before I do, I'm going to tell you that today what we're talking about is the importance of being successful for yourself. So now when I say success, I don't mean that you have to make millions. So it's not about being financially successful. It's about what do you feel is successful for you. So some people might feel success is a financial target. I do, for example. Some people might feel success is, having a well-balanced life, as my partner does. So it's really dependent on yourself. So why am I talking about success in a mental health series? Because let's be honest, one of the goals of humanity, of all of us as people, is to find our truth and to kind of find our place in the world is number one, but also to feel like we've achieved. This need for achieving something is hugely in our human DNA. It's been something we've wanted for years and years and years, ever since cave people. They would feel like they achieved when they slaughtered a lion and brought that home to their families, for example. So our need to achieve and to be somebody is ingrained in us, and it's really important to our mental well-being. I mean, the amount of clients I've had who have come to me and say, like, I don't feel like I'm somebody. I feel like, and this is what makes me unhappy. I feel like I haven't achieved what I want to achieve. I feel like I'm just a clog and I'm invisible or something, it's really important for us to feel like we've achieved what we want to achieve. And sometimes the journey towards that achievement is actually what makes the difference between mental well-being and mental, let's say, boredom and shriveling. Because let's be honest, that journey towards, we're moving towards a target that we have in our heads, make us excited, makes us want to live life. It gives us a reason to wake up every morning. So today we're going to talk to Roz about how she helps people to find that drive and that success within them. And let's be honest, all of us has the ability to be successful, whatever our name for success is, whatever it is that makes us feel like we have got there. Whether it's making partner in your firm, or it's starting your own company, or it's just having a well-balanced lifestyle where you have enough time to spend with your kids and also are doing something that drives you. So Roz, without further ado, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into what you're doing and how exactly you help people.
Yeah, so my name's Roz Thornton, as you said. I'm a life coach. I'm also a trainer, so I write and design my own training courses. And I've been doing this business now for the last, I'd say about the last 9 years. And I've found that the majority of people that have been attracted to my service that I offer have been women, but not exclusively women. I do work with some men as well. But the majority of people that have been attracted to the work that I do have been women. So I then set up a company in 2016 called Amazing Women Global.
Amazing.
Which is really a women's empowerment company, which really helps women to be the best version of themselves, to define what success is, and then to go about achieving it through improving their confidence, improving their work-life balance, and most importantly, improving their financial empowerment levels. And that's really what the company does. And I've also done another few little things. I am also a speaker, and I've spoken at numerous events, both here in the UK and internationally. Nice. And I've also started the Amazing Women Awards, which is an award that recognizes unsung heroes. So people who work tirelessly away in their communities, who don't get recognition for things, and we have been rewarding women that way. So I've had 2 events in central London, one in 2017, one in 2019. We were supposed to have one next year, but we've had to postpone that. And I've also, whenever I've done my traveling, whether it be for work or for holidays, I've actually taken an award with me and sought out a worthwhile project. Wow. Where we've been given an award. I'm just going to show you the award, just happens to be on my desk. So that's, the
Oh,
Amazing Women Award. So we give that away to worthy projects in different countries as well. So we've given
can you show
about,
that one more time, big for the camera?
oh, wow. Yeah, sure.
Looks really good. Oh,
And you can see my logo is there. That's my logo on the bottom. It says Amazing Women Award.
amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's me really.
Amazing woman yourself.
So how did I just to let you know a little bit about my journey and how I got started, and I think that's probably the easiest thing to do is to let people know that you don't have to come from a certain background, you don't have to be a certain ethnicity, you can just start from anywhere, and you just have to have that drive and that passion to want to change. And so I came from a large household. I was born in the north of England, which is a place called Yorkshire, and I'm the youngest of 8 children.
Wow.
So, so yeah, so you can imagine growing up, we didn't really have that many things, and because I'm the youngest, I got lots of hand-me-downs.
Mm,
And that brings with it lots of different issues. There was domestic violence in our family as well, and that brings with it different issues.
yeah.
So as an adult now, I really had to do a lot of soul searching on myself to sort of work out where I wanted to carve my place out in the world, because I knew I had a message, and I knew I had a voice, and I knew I had talent, but I just didn't know what direction to put it in. And
Mm,
to cut a long story short, meeting a series of different coaches actually helped me to get on track. And had my path not crossed a really good coach way back then, I don't know where I'd be today. And
wow.
I'm just so thankful that I met the people that I met along my journey, who were able to see things in me that I couldn't see in myself. I knew it was there, but it was kind of deeply hidden,
Mm-hmm.
as it is with a lot of people. We have all that those gifts and things that we want to share to help humanity, but sometimes it's very, very deeply hidden, and we need someone else to come and help us, really, just to bring that out, and to let us shine, and like you said, become the best version of who we are. And that process that we go through, I think, is a mental health process, because we all
Absolutely.
have things that we bring from our childhood, and actually going through a personal development, whether it be personal development or whether it be counseling, whichever route people choose, actually that is such a deep and fulfilling process, but you have to be prepared to do the hard work. And that's what I did. And I started off with a mentor who helped me, first of all, because one of my highest values was being financially secure. So
Mm,
I had a mentor who helped me to understand money, to understand the laws of money, to understand how to attract it, to keep it, to invest it. And these are the sorts of things that I teach to women now, because one of the things that a lot of women, particularly women who get caught up in domestic violence, they always say, that one of the reasons why they don't leave sooner is because they're not financially independent, or they're not
mm,
financially secure enough. So for me, that's a big driver for me to help particularly women to become financially secure. So
mm.
I have a financial empowerment course, which I've developed, and that's actually on my website, and that's going to be launched in October, so not long. So we're not long away.
You need to
So
put your website on the
yes,
notes,
yes, I
so that
will.
people can actually see it.
Yes, I will. I
Yeah.
will. And yeah, so that's one of my first courses that I put online, and that has actually helped so many people. I mean, I've obviously delivered it face to face, and actually the course is a recording of the workshops that I ran with women in 2018. And yeah, I'm just trying to think about. So one of the women that I can think of, she went on this course, and she actually started to say by the end of the course, and bearing in mind it was 6 sessions, 6 one-day sessions. By the end of the course, she'd managed to save £800.
Wow.
and this was somebody who was on benefits and who really just didn't have that much spare cash. But while she was able to see where her money was leaking away, she was able to claw that money back. And also she was able to do things that she was doing for free. She was able to start charging for them. She could see areas where she was actually giving things away for free, where she could actually start charging for it. So
Amazing.
yeah, it's, and there was another lady on one of my courses, and she was applying for jobs, and she was applying for jobs at quite a low level. And then, you know, we did some work with her on, built her confidence, and then she got a job that was 23 grand higher than what she was originally going for. And she actually got a
Amazing.
job.
So,
Mm,
um, give us some advice as far as
mm,
what would you tell women? So let's say there's a
mm,
woman who's really struggling, let's say not domestic violence, but let's just
yeah.
say really struggling with self-esteem and
Mm-hmm,
doesn't think she's worth it enough
mm,
to be successful. What
mm.
kind of mindset, advice would you give a woman like that?
I mean, it's just one of this a really powerful exercise that I always try with my clients is I get them to write their story.
Okay.
So I just get like a blank piece of A4, and
Hmm.
I get them to quickly write their story. So what has happened to them that has brought them to this point today,
Mm.
without going too deep, but we just literally a 5 minute, like quickly write out their life story. And I get them to read it to me, and then I say to them, so how does that make you feel? So we then connect with the emotions.
Mm.
I then get a fresh piece of paper, and I get them to rewrite the story the way they would really like it to be.
Wow. So complete work of fiction.
Complete work of fiction.
So
And they write
basically,
out, so say for example, they're living in a flat in a not so nice area, but they want to
yeah.
live in a house with the garden, let's say.
Okay.
Then they would say, I am living in a house with a garden. So
Oh,
so that would
wow.
be the news story. But the reality is they may be in a flat in a not very nice area.
Yeah. It
So
sounds,
so yeah, so it's just kind of like a wishful thinking, but it's the story they would really want. And that's the story. The second one, that's the story we work from.
that's the story
That's
that
the
you
one.
work towards.
Yeah,
So it's like
that we're going to be
because I
working
do
from.
a visualization exercise where we do
Mm.
like a house in the clouds.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what is this life that you
Mm.
have with that house in the clouds? What does that look like?
And then yeah, so then you've got the two stories. So you've got the
Yeah.
reality in terms
Yeah.
of where they are now, and then you've got the story in the future as to where they want to be.
Yeah.
So that then my work is to get them from A to B.
And what if their story, yeah, so it sounds a
Mm.
lot like the
Yeah.
visuals, it's amazing. What if their story includes the I wish I had, but I hadn't? Like, oh, if I'd only studied this when I was 30 instead of studying when I'm 60 or whatever it is, I
Mm.
feel like I lost 10 years because I brought up my kids, or I feel like I lost 20 years, because I gave it to this guy and now I'm not fertile anymore. What if it's like that regret story? Do you know what I mean? I get a
So
lot of
that
clients.
would be in their old story,
Yeah.
but in their new story,
What would you do that lost time?
in the last time,
You know
sorry.
that lost time.
Mm.
So let's say they said, "Oh, in my old story, I was with this guy from my 30s all the way to 45, and I lost the chance to have kids." In my new story, I had a child when I was 35, and another child when I was 37. You know what I mean? They can't
No, the new story,
regret
it can only be something that they want to
the
happen in the
future.
future. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's the future paced.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's the future you.
What would you tell clients who feel
Mm.
like they regret lost time? Because I get
Uh,
I get a lot of those clients.
yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of people watching who have
we have a lot of people who sort of look back, but I work with people to not regret anything that they've
that.
done,
Right,
because everything that they have done, they have learned from it. So it's
right,
really about what have you learned from what has
yeah,
happened to you. Your experience is your experience.
right,
Your experience is very powerful, and everybody's experience is different, and we all have to learn something from that experience. We cannot change time. We can't go
mm,
back and change things. So we can only go back and then work out what we have learned from them, and also break ourselves free from
right.
some of that limiting thinking and those limiting beliefs we have around that.
Yeah.
because
So
then they
everything is
would,
a lesson, basically.
yeah, everything is a lesson. And obviously there are some limiting beliefs there
Yeah.
as well. So we have to work with that as well, because there's always layers.
Yes.
When people say, oh, I wish I'd still been with this
Yeah.
guy 10
Exactly.
years ago, I'm
Or I
kind
wish
of
I
thinking,
hadn't. Or I wish I hadn't given him 10 years of my life, and now
yeah, I wish,
still
but
I have
then, so,
this.
okay, so then we have to look at the thinking that's keeping them stuck in that
Yeah.
reality. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
So
really about the limiting, breaking that cycle of limiting belief, about
yeah.
keep going back and thinking about the past
Yeah.
and why they're doing that.
I
So
mean,
we
for
have to break.
women, I
Mm,
can say personally, and I just think for a lot of
mm,
my clients, I think one of the really different, and like I told you before we started rolling the video, a lot of most of my clients are between the ages of 35 and 65, let's say,
mm,
is that kind of that prime ages of, when we can still make a difference, we can make a difference in those ages, but it's really the ages that we can still make a difference, meaning if you're 85, it's more difficult to make a difference to your health and many other things when you're 85 than when you are 65, let's say. But also you start to feel your mortality at around somewhere like
mm,
35. You might not feel your mortality at 21. You just are
mm,
not thinking about that at 21. When you're my kids, at 14, 15, they're like, um they're just thinking they're quite old. I'm just leave it. Sorry, I have a delivery. He's
mm,
just gonna leave it, and hopefully my yeah. Let me just tell him.
mm.
Uh, Hold on,
Okay.
Maria. Just what? I can pause this. Oh, he's left. We're good.
Okay. We're
Give me
good.
1 second. All right. So yeah, so I have clients that that whole prime area of, I think, when you realize are mortal, you're not going to live forever, kind of thing, which is what you still think when you're a teenager or when you're in your early 20s. And then from there to time is flying past me, somewhere around 39, 38, 37, 38, 39, let's say, for a
Mm,
woman, because let's be honest, our biological clock has a lot to do with
mm,
how we feel. And then time has flown past me, which happens somewhere between 45 and 50. That kind of, oh my God, it's like, that's it. It's somewhere around
mm,
the time when we stop being fertile as women that we
mm.
start realizing, um, you know, what am I now? I've wasted so many years.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of these clients where it's I gave up all this stuff, and now what do I do?
Yeah, so it's just focusing on what they can do now. We cannot go back and change the past. We can reframe things, and we can go back visually, but in terms of actually physically changing things, we can't do that. So we can only work on what we can, the here and now, enjoying the present, and actually planning for the future. And one of the things that you can do, there's lots of different exercise, but one of the things you could do, you could take them on a timeline. So
Yep.
you could take them to, say, the age
NLP.
of 90. You could take them to the age of 90, for example,
Yeah.
and you could say, right, there you are, you're 90 years old, you're
Yeah.
sitting in your rocking chair on
Yep.
your veranda, and you're
What do you
thinking
tell
back on
yourself?
your life. What are the things that you're glad that you achieved? What do you
Yeah.
wish you'd achieved? you know and then ask you, as a 90-year-old, what do you think you should have done with your life, or what have you achieved? What would you be proud of the most? You can ask all kinds of questions, and then whatever comes up for them, those are the things that you can start to work with.
Yeah.
um, I think that not I think it's unrealistic to think that everyone's going to be like this great public speaker, and they're all going to have the
Mm,
message. Oh, everyone's going to go out and save humanity, or
mm,
everyone's going to do this. Maybe success for you is just having a balanced life, balancing a
mm,
job with a family, and
mm.
bringing up 2 or 3 healthy, well-rounded children. Maybe
Yeah,
that is success for you, or
absolutely.
keeping a
And
roof over your head. It doesn't have to be this great big, and this is where people fall into the trap of comparing their lives with somebody else's life, and sort of saying, oh, I should be doing this and this and that.
mm,
No, you do what's right for you. And I think this is where, when you do some work with a therapist or a coach, you can bring out some of those deep, um, hidden talents, and those deep and hidden kind of wants and desires that sometimes we do suppress. And once we know what they are, because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
mm-hmm.
I think I became a coach when I was like nearly 40, you know, so it's kind of like we do all kinds of jobs, don't we, because for one reason or another, but actually sometimes it's not until later on in life that you have those life skills and that wisdom to actually do the thing that you're meant to do, and that's going to bring you all that joy and passion and help humanity and all the rest of it. But you could just be doing something, and this is where we come in with the awards, because you could just be doing something that helps your square mile where you live, you know, and that could be a success story for you because you're having an impact on your community. And then somebody else could be doing something that impacts the whole world, you know, that impacts people in different countries. So I think it's different for everyone, but
Yeah,
it's
and I
just
think
finding that thing.
what you just said is really important. It's the fact that everything that you've done up to the point where you are has brought you here for a reason. And there is no, like, whether there's a lesson in there or there's, you know, things that you worked out in there, maybe from a past life, maybe from this life, whatever you believe, maybe for your future, maybe for your kids' future, whatever, you know, whatever it is, that there's something there that you've worked through that brought you to this time exactly now. So if it didn't happen before because it wasn't meant to happen before, this was the moment where you're supposed to have that wow moment of like, okay. And you know, the other thing you said, which is really important, which is like, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to change the course that you're on in the past to be on a different trajectory for the future.
Exactly. It's
So
never
we
too
can,
late.
like you said, you know, like you, like me, I mean, I think I started coaching also. I started in my mid 30s, I think, is when I actually discovered coaching, and I decided that's it. I don't want to do any more of what I was doing before. And for you, you know, almost 40. And if one of the things that I really liked that resonated to me about NLP was in the very beginning, the person who was running the whole session, who was kind of trying to sell us onto it, talked about all these different people who became successful in later on in life. So everybody in 40, 50, 60, 70, even one was, you know, became a published writer and became a world-class bestseller in his 80s.
Wow.
You know, so just like you kind of starting to know all these people, and you're like, okay, so they did it. And that his whole point was like, if not now, when? You know,
Exactly.
why? Whatever moment strikes you, that's the moment, whatever it is. So it's never too late.
It's never too late. And there's an old saying that says, "When was the best time to plant a tree?" And they
Now.
say 100 years ago.
Yeah.
When's the second best time to plant a tree?
Yeah.
Now. Now.
Amazing. I love it. I love that saying. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
I might
Yeah.
put that on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is Coach Julia Keller, if for anybody who
Okay.
wants to know, in case you see that saying there. For so just to basically say again what you said. So the 2 points that you've given so far, and my whole point with all of these videos is to get 3 really good points that people can take away from it. So the 2 that you've said so far is, number 1, write your past story, and then write the story that you would want. But we're not talking about, you know, I'm 45 and at 35 I would rather have had the children that I want to be having. We're talking about write the story that you want to be living right now. So your past story brought you here. What story do you want to be living now? So you might be living in that flat in a bad neighborhood, but you want to be living in a house, you know, in I don't know, Primrose Hill, let's say, wherever. Write the story that you want to be living right now. So that's point number 1. And point number 2 is, there are no regrets. There's just learning
Lessons.
done, and everything from your past has brought you to this point here.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to ask you for one more tip we can leave everybody with.
Okay, so one more tip I would say is look at who you are influenced by. Look at your circle, or what I call your circle of influence. So who is in your circle of influence? Because they say if you're hanging around with the 4 people that you hang around with the most, you become like them. So if if you don't like the lives of the people around you, you need to get a new circle. So it's really about looking at, we influence other people, but other people influence us. And you have to really know who you want in your circle and who you want to influence you, because let me tell you, it is possible to make friends at any age. I went through a bit of a spiritual journey as well as a personal development one, and I had no spiritual friends at all. And I kept saying, I want more spiritual friends. And you know, the more I focused on it, then eventually I did become friends with people who were more spiritual, and I was able to fulfill that part of my life that wasn't being fulfilled before. So it is possible, but you just have to know what it is that you want. Amazing. Really. And but I just say to people, be careful who you have around you, because they will influence you, whether it be positively or negatively.
That's really good. So basically, prune your circle of influence.
Yes.
Make sure that the people you have around you, and I just want to add to that, not just that they are the group that you want to be with, that inspires you, but also the people that make you feel good rather than making you feel bad. I mean, I'm one of these people who I don't believe in dumping friends. I keep friends for years, but but then I had one friend in particular who was like kind of a toxic friend. Like every time I would see her, she'd say something negative about me. And I was like, what's the point of this friendship? You know, what's the... And actually, my daughters are much better at this than I am, because they're like, she's a toxic friend. I don't want to be friends with her anymore. I'm more like, oh, but they're a nice person. There's something good in them. You want to find the good in everybody. But yeah, there's some people that just don't make you feel good.
Yeah. Just go with how you feel. Just go with how they make you feel. When you've left them, how do you feel? You should be feeling up there. And if you're not, if you're feeling down there, then they're not good for you. And I'm not saying go around and dump everyone, but you have to bring in more positive, strong role models for yourself. If you want to move forward, I think this is so important, because I meet so many people who are on this personal development journey, but because they don't have the support around them, they keep falling back. They keep falling back. They keep falling back. They keep relapsing. So you have to get into a circle where you can bounce off people who are perhaps on a similar journey, or people who have got your back, people who understand
what you might be going through. I love that. Yeah, and you don't have to be around people who keep telling you, no, it's not going to work, you can't do it, what are you doing, it's not going to work, you can't do it. Because there are people like that. There are people like that who basically nothing to do with you, but something to do with them. They're scared of change.
So they're projecting.
It has to be a stable job. It has to be like a stable income. It has to be like this. And don't make a change, even if it could be an amazing change. Don't make a change, because it could be really dangerous, because you could lose everything. Everything can go wrong, because that's how their mind works. And that's fine. Let them live that life that is that way, because that's the square that they're living in, and that's fine for them. But it might not be fine for you.
Exactly.
And you want to be with people who allow you to blossom and to grow into the flower that you really are, let's say.
Absolutely.
So amazing 3 tips. So number 1 tip is basically rewrite your story. So write the story that you are in, and then write the story that you wish to be in instead. And somewhere in between that's where Roz and I basically help. That's what that's what we do. We help you achieve that story. And then tip number 2 is there's no mistakes. Everything led you here for a reason. You are where you are because you need to be here. So take your past as lessons, stepping stones that you had to go on to, stairs, let's say, you had to climb to get to the top of the mountain. And tip number 3 is think about who you surround yourself with. What are the people like that you're with? Sorry, my dog is just attacking my TV. So that's the main important bit here.
How is your dog?
He's very cute, but he makes a little bit of he can make a bit of a mess here in this house. He's very, very cute and very well behaved, and actually doesn't bark, so you don't hear him on the video, which is amazing.
But actually, talking about pets, and mental wellness, they say that if you have a pet, then your mental health can be better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why
they're really good. They are so good for our mental health. And actually, a dog is something that you will have to go out of the house every day.
Absolutely. I tell all my loneliness clients to get a dog. Because it is, they challenge you.
Challenge you.
They're like kids, but they also like, they just bring so much joy. I mean, it's like a
Mm.
meditation to stroke him sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like we are, you know, as humans, we need company. And
Mm.
I do recognize, because a lot of my clients are in the older age group, I do recognize that as you get older, you know, company gets smaller and smaller, because
Yes.
sometimes you don't, you know, are connected with your family. If you had a family,
Mm.
sometimes they kind of abandon, you know, the elderly. They're going and living their own
Mm.
lives. Your friends start to die, and that's very difficult to watch, because you're like, okay, everybody's going and I'm still here.
Mm.
You know, and your social network just gets smaller and smaller. And now
Mm.
with Corona, it's more and more difficult, because we have to isolate, and we isolate our elderly even more,
Yeah.
which is not good for mental health.
So I'm just about to say, this is my I don't know if you can see that. It's
Oh,
mental
yes.
well-being,
See the top. Yep.
the mental well-being course that I've been doing since lockdown.
Amazing.
Um, because I was just getting so many people saying, I don't know what to do. I'm so
Yeah.
fearful. I'm so anxious.
Yeah.
We're just getting bombarded with messages from people. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just
Yeah.
going to do what I do best and write a course.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Based on, I did quite a lot of research.
Yeah.
Some of it's based on sort of personal experience working with coaching clients, and also just working with other people in mental health professions. So, and now we've got this mental well-being course, and it's just been crazy. It's just been
Amazing. And
so
you're going to
busy.
share
Yes.
all of those. Roz is going to share all of those links. So they will
Mm.
be at the bottom of the YouTube video when she sends them to us. And they will be in for those who receive my newsletter. And if you want to receive my newsletter and you don't, please go to juliakeller.co.uk and just sign yourself up, because we do bring you things first in the newsletter. And you get some promotions as well that I give away. So you get them on the newsletter. And in fact, talking about promotions,
Yes.
Roz, I'm very excited to say, has a special promotion for the people listening to this video. And please do share your promotion.
Yes. So anyone listening to this video, we're going to do a 25% off promotion off any of my online courses. So that's
That's a
really good.
quarter off, people. That's a lot. That's good.
Yeah. And the mental well-being course is not online yet, but that will be probably coming online before the end of the year. So just if you want to stay in touch with me, then the best place to get me is probably on Facebook. It's just Amazing Women Global,
Okay.
or you can go on my personal page, which is Roz Thornton.
You're also on Instagram, Roz.
And
What's your
I'm also on Instagram, Amazing Women Global on Instagram
amazing?
as well. So,
And Roz is
oh,
an amazing woman.
and there's the website,
I
www.amazingwomenglobal.com.
love that name. I'm impressed you got that name, by the way. It's a
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, no, it's it. We
Yeah,
got it a few years ago. So
that's
yeah,
very
it's
clever. You're probably like, good for you, because it's hard to get good names. Anyway, Roz is
but,
an amazing woman.
mm,
Thank you so much for being here with us. It
my
was
pleasure.
really amazing. You have an amazing story yourself that you shared a little bit of, and there's a lot more. Roz has a website, and her you have that she shared with us, and then we have, you know, the Instagram, we have the Facebook, so many ways to reach her. She will also give us all the discount codes and everywhere where
Mm,
you can find the course, which is soon to come out, and
hmm.
25% off, which is a great deal because it's a quarter
Yeah,
off basically.
yeah.
And you're going to give them a discount code, correct?
Yes, excellent. Yes,
Amazing.
they can just contact me for the discount code because it's not
Okay.
available yet, but you
Okay.
can contact me.
Fantastic.
Mm.
We will make all that available here.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, Roz. And thanks, guys, for listening in, for watching. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.